Good morning, everyone. Before we jump into the typical college football mornings where we do tend to focus on solely college football, I did just want to start off the show by saying I truly hope and pray that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be okay. Obviously, very scary injury last night where he was thrown to the turf as he was, I believe, being sacked. He may have gotten the ball out. Honestly, doesn't matter. But his head slammed down onto the turf. And for those of you who were able to watch it, obviously very tough to watch with the way his hands and fingers were curled. You could tell there was clearly something wrong with him. Obviously, there's a lot of drama and speculation behind this with the fact that he suffered an injury last week that looked to be a concussion. The Dolphins then came out and, I'm just going to be honest, blatantly lied and said that it was a back injury when he was stumbling around, couldn't stay on his feet. Clearly, it was something else. I truly hope and pray that Tua is going to be okay. And this is not a second concussion within 5 days, as that can be deadly for people. I truly hope that the NFL, though they most of the time really don't care about the NFL players. They say they do, but really they just want to make the money off of these players, if we're being honest. I really hope that the NFL actually looks into these allegations for the Dolphins and does something about this, and I hope that they get the severest punishments of all time. I like Mike McDaniel, but if he knew that Tua Tagovailoa had a concussion and sent him back out there, I hope he's fucking fired. I hope the whole staff at the Miami medical staff is fired. This is absolutely ridiculous to put this young man's life at stake for a game. It is ridiculous. I apologize for getting a little bit heated and upset about that, but it is absolutely ridiculous that these teams continue to put these players' lives at stake. Trust me, I know that this is an inherently dangerous game, as do any of the players that play it. But this medical staff, these coaches, these new protocols that we're supposed to have for the brain injuries have been put in place to limit this, to stop this from happening, and yet we continue to do it. And I don't say we, these NFL teams continue to do it, put these players' lives at stake for a game. Last I saw, I'll be honest with you guys, I've not had a chance to really look into it. They said that he was obviously conscious, could move all his extremities, which is good. That is very positive news. Again, we're hoping and praying for the best for Tua. But anybody who knows anything concussions, I've suffered through many of them. I have a family member who had 6 of them and struggles with certain things in her life because of it. I've had a friend who died from concussions. This is a very scary thing. He is not, let's hope that he is out of the woods, because the worst thing about this when it comes to brain injury and concussions is that you never know. He could be perfectly fine right now and then it not end up being that way. Obviously, we are hoping and praying for the best, Tua. I hope that you are able to get back on the field someday. Take your time, man. Heal up. Make sure everything is okay. And NFL, do something about the absolutely ridiculous bullshit that just went on last night that allowed a guy who clearly was not okay go back out on the field and suffer another concussion within 5 days and then try to play it up. Oh, head and neck injuries? Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry for the bad language. I apologize to everybody for starting the morning off this way. And the kind of stuff just gets me heated, but it needed to be talked about. I had to give my opinion. If you guys don't like it, I apologize. You can unsubscribe from the channel, curse me out in the comments. I don't care. I don't want to see anything bad happen to these players. I truly enjoy watching football. It is one of my favorite things to do in life, and to see something like that happen when it, I would say 99.9% sure could have been prevented, is just sad to think that we're still at that part in our society and in the NFL game. So that all being said, again, prayers up to Tua. I hope that you probably will never watch this, but if you are, I hope that you are doing well, and I am praying for your continued health and that you are able to bounce back from your injury last night. That being said, let us now jump into college football mornings. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of College Football Mornings. It is September 30th. We've almost made it through. Realistically, was is it technically the first month of the season, really, because while some of the games start in August, I think week 0 for the most part. This is really the first month through. We're already into week 5 of the college football season as games were played last night with BYU, Utah State, South Carolina, which looked bad at first, but they ended up getting it together for a win. Just overall, some interesting games last night. We'll definitely talk about some of those on the tailgate. Saturday mornings, 10:30 a.m. Eastern to kickoff time, which should be 12 noon is the correct answer there, Matt. We do have some great games tonight, though. You got Tulane versus Houston, which I believe kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern. And then the game I will really be looking forward to, 9:30, Washington versus UCLA. Michael Penix, Kalen DeBoer going up against an also very good offense in UCLA, the Bruins, Chip Kelly's rushing attack. That is a game I will definitely be paying attention to. We will also talk about both of those again on the tailgate. Really short show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about the big high school games of the weekend, and then I'm going to give you guys kind of a breakdown of the top 25 matchups for this week 5 in college football. So let's jump in and do the high school stuff first. You guys have been watching Friday Night Lights or really the Monday shows. I talk a little bit about those on there. St. John Bosco, still number 1 team in the nation, 5-0, undefeated, plays Servite tonight at 7 o'clock. The number 2 team in the nation, Mater Dei, it's not who I think it is. Don't worry about it. Anyways, they're playing Sierra Catholic at 7 p.m. as well. Central Miami is playing North Beach Miami. Central 4-0, number 4 ranked team in the nation, playing at 7:30. Buford, Justice Haynes, one of the top running backs in the nation, plays Collins Hill tonight. Bishop Gorman was the team that I was thinking of, which has Zachariah Branch, one of the best wide receivers in the nation, playing Canyon Springs. Bishop Gorman, 5-1. That one will actually be a game I'll probably be tuned in on, as it is available on NFHS. So I might tune into that one, as I will likely be tuning into Chandler versus Red Mountain. Chandler, the number 9 ranked team in the nation. Dylan Raiola at quarterback, future Ohio State Buckeye. At least let's hope. Again, as I mentioned, also available on NFHS. North Shore beat King last night. Westlake gets Duval. I might watch a little bit of the Westlake game. Not sure. I definitely want to turn into the next game, which is American Heritage, the number 13 team in the nation. They did lose earlier this season, but they're playing Cardinal Gibbons of Fort Lauderdale, who's also they are undefeated. But this game's at Saturday at noon, which sucks because there's a lot of really good college games on Saturday. So I might not get a chance to watch that game. Denton Geyer plays tonight against Boyd. Go watch some Jackson Arnold if you want. That'll be available on NFHS. Mill Creek won last night. They absolutely destroyed Central Gwinnett. I think that's really all the top games going. Scrolling through here, looking for some of the other ones. So that is it. I believe Arch Manning played last night, Thursday night. I was trying to find the score. I couldn't really find it. Definitely will bring it up though on Friday Night Lights, which airs on Sunday. So the top 25 matchups here for week 5. We've got some very interesting ones, just some very interesting games altogether. So obviously BYU played Utah last night. Tonight you get number 15 in Washington versus UCLA. As I mentioned, I think has a chance to be a very good game. Another interesting game, in my opinion, is number 4 Michigan at Iowa. Michigan's getting 10.5 points here, and I know that last year they played in the Big Ten Championship, and they just absolutely blew out Iowa. I believe it was like 44-3. The difference here is all different coordinators. J.J. McCarthy, while he's been good and efficient, he has not played a defense like Iowa. I'm going to be very intrigued to watch this game and see what J.J. McCarthy and the Wolverines look like. Is this their first real test? Also at noon, Kentucky versus Ole Miss. Will Levis and the Kentucky Wildcats against Jackson Dart, Quinshaw Judkins, as Zach Evans might be out of this game. Lane Kiffin. This is a big game for both schools, and I'm going to be paying very close attention to that one as well. Also at the noon kickoff, you got number 18, Oklahoma, going up against TCU. TCU, I believe, beat them last year as Quentin Johnston went off against Oklahoma. He's been kind of bad. I want to see what they can do to rebound. I feel like TCU is going to be kind of thrown through the shredder here as Oklahoma's likely going to come into this pissed off. They are getting 6.5 points. Minnesota, number 21 at Purdue. Minnesota getting 12 points. I think that they'll beat Purdue, especially if Aiden O'Connell is out. As of right now, I have not seen whether he's going to play. Last I heard, he was going to miss. Another very interesting game, Kansas State, Texas Tech going to Kansas State. Kansas getting 7.5 points. Can Adrian Martinez repeat what he did last week against Oklahoma? It was a phenomenal performance. I hate that this game is on the Pac-12 because it's actually the one grouping of games I don't get. I believe it's only on like Fubo or something. I don't have Fubo. But number 12, Utah plays Oregon State at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Utah's getting 10.5 points. Well, I think Utah's going to win this game. Oregon State, I was able to go back and watch. They have a lot of the game available on YouTube. I was able to go back and watch that Oregon State USC game. Oregon State's defense gave Caleb Williams trouble, and they looked really good. Now, while I think Utah is the overall better team, I really wish I was going to be able to watch this game because I think Oregon State's just an up-and-coming team, and I'm really excited to see what they do in this one. Of course, in the other early window or mid-afternoon kickoff, you get number 2 Alabama going into Arkansas. So last year, Arkansas lost to Alabama by 8 points. Bama's getting 17 here. I'm very curious to see what this game looks like. I mean, KJ Jefferson and Arkansas should have beat Texas A&M last week, if we're being honest. That was a bad game. So they come in, they're back home, coming off a loss. Does that kind of spur them to take down Alabama, who I think we all know has their own faults as well? I think this has a shot to be a very good game. Very, very intrigued to see what happens here. Number 3, Ohio State gets Rutgers. I don't think this is going to be that much of a game. Ohio State's getting 39.5. That's insane to me. Even was it last year, the COVID year? Like Rutgers actually played them pretty close. They threw out all the stops. They brought in a bunch of different plays, trick plays and everything. We'll see what happens. 39.5 just seems like a lot. I don't know that I could do that. Number 9, Oklahoma State versus number 16, Baylor. Massive game for the Big 12 here. It is also a midday kickoff. I think Baylor kind of showed us who they were last week. I think they are a very good team. I talked a little bit about that on the tailgate last weekend. I know the BYU game was kind of weird, and they haven't necessarily played great, but I feel like that defense is coming into form. It's going to be a great test for both teams, and I think whoever wins this is shaping up to possibly be the Big 12 champion. Number 11, Penn State gets Northwestern. Penn State getting 25 points. I don't see this really being a game. Another big game. This one in that midday window. This midday window is absolutely stacked. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, I post. I've got 2 TVs in my living room, and then I have usually 3 to 4 games up on my laptop, and I'm trying to watch all of them. This midday one is going to it's going to be rough because I'm going to want to pay attention to so many of these games. Get number 22 Wake Forest at number 23 Florida State. Jordan Travis will be back. I don't know that he's fully healthy, but he's going to be playing who's looked really good so far this season. I really think this one's probably going to be up on the big TV. Florida State's getting 6.5 points. Wake, had they had beaten Clemson last week, which they probably could have, but they didn't. This may have been a more intriguing matchup as it had been 2 4-0 teams, but Wake Forest is 3-1. Then you get Texas A&M, number 17, at Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I believe, upset Texas A&M or came really damn close to doing it. We'll see what they can do bouncing back from a tough loss just a couple of weeks ago to LSU. Number 1, Georgia gets Missouri. I don't expect this to really be a game, but, we'll see. Georgia had moments last week. Every team has a weekend they struggle, and then it's just, can they pull out the win? Georgia did. I don't think that they're going to do it back-to-back weeks. Supposedly one of the games of the weekend, I don't know that it will be, is number 10 NC State at number 5 Clemson. Clemson's getting 7 points. I was listening to some ESPN stuff today, last night before the games kicked off, and they're talking about how this, aggressive and explosive NC State passing offense could take advantage of Clemson. It just makes me wonder if ESPN's really even paying attention Clemson was down 3 guys in their secondary last night. All 3 of those guys are supposed to be back tomorrow for this game. And Devin Leary and NC State has not looked explosive, at least not in the games that I've watched. They have not looked good passing the ball. Demi Suko, Slimy Shark, as Chris Moxley tells me is his nickname, has looked good, but he's injured. He may not play tomorrow. So I don't know that this is going to be a close game. I actually think Clemson probably wins this by more than 10. But I we'll see. They're both 4-0. It's a massive game for both teams moving forward here in the ACC. Number 24, Pitt gets Georgia Tech. I think Pitt's going to be fine there. Number 6, USC gets Arizona State. Same thing. Arizona State obviously just fired Herm Edwards there in a whole state of chaos. And then last but not least, number 13, Oregon gets Stanford. So that's the top 25 matchups of the week. And that's really going to be the show today, guys. Don't have much for you. I apologize. It's been a long week. I am 100% exhausted sitting here Friday, but if you want any NFL content, we'll be live this afternoon with the roundtable. We'll be recapping the Thursday night game between the Bengals and Dolphins. Great game last night. Awesome uniforms too, by the way, the colorways for both the Dolphins and the Bengals. So we'll talk about that game. We'll preview the rest of the week 4 slate for the NFL, and then tune in Saturday. If you want to spend all morning with us from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern, we are on the Better Sports app, Better Sports Radio Network. You can check them out. They will be streaming live on Twitter. You can download the app. It is free. Call in, hit the fun button, interact with us. We would appreciate that. And then we'll be live on the tailgate from 10:30 a.m. till noon kickoff. And then we will obviously be live as well Saturday night for college fantasy tonight. I don't know after which game. I'm assuming NC State Clemson, but I could be wrong there. Looks like you'll get Colin Decker, Felix Sharp, myself, and possibly Nate Marchese, who is a brilliant mind. Did the CFT show with me last week, was just incredible. He's very, very smart when it comes to college football. So outside of that, guys, that'll do it. Enjoy your Fridays. And follow us all on Twitter. Check out, we'll be posting high school highlights tonight as those games are going on, and join us all day Saturday for college football content.